segment will highlight our contestants' wits, grace, and their ability to think with haste as well as communicate effectively. So first, we have our contestant number 1, Dominic Fernandez. Give us a minute, please.
Is that your mom?
Yeah, Coach Jay.
Dominique, please pick a question. Your question is, allyship is the active practice of using one's privilege to support or advocate for an underrepresented group that you don't necessarily belong to. How do you determine a good ally, and how can you help others find similar support? You have 30 seconds to think. Your time begins now. Dominique, you must begin.
I believe that being a good ally means that you use the privilege that you have to help uplift the voices of those marginalized. Not just talking about their culture or their community because of a trend, something quick cash grab, but to always stand by them and not overlook the injustices that they are currently facing. Helping to raise voices and create an impact for the communities. I believe with my role as Vice President of Membership for FSA that I help to connect people to other people that they might not have a community with. Not just people to person, but also for them to find their own community. It doesn't have to necessarily be in the Filipino Student Association, but it can also be those in the avid American community, where they can find others that are just like them and similar-minded. Thank you.
Thank you, Dom. Next, we have contestant number 2, Stephen Chan.
Yes,
Please pick a question. Steven, your question is, a controlling image is a pop culture stereotype that fetishizes minorities while also positing majority groups as normal by contrast. What is the stereotype or controlling image that the avid community struggles with today, and what can we do about it? You have 30 seconds to think. Your time begins now.
Back in high school, in AP Capital Research, I wrote my research paper about Asian American stereotypes. And on this research, I learned about the stereotype content model. On this matrix, it positioned Asian Americans as high in competence but low in warmth. This stereotype, the cold but competent stereotype, positions Asian Americans as just people without emotions, people who can do the work, but if you talk to them, like, they're boring. I internalized this stereotype. In my speech, I literally talked about how growing up, I thought I was a stereotypical high-achieving, quiet Asian kid. Coming to UF, being involved in ASU, looking around this room, I know so many people who aren't just cold and incompetent, it's not just a stereotype, it's just everywhere on the spectrum, on the matrix. And because of that, we need to show how our voice, our personalities, our stories, our culture, we don't just fit in a stereotype. We can be more than that. So just by standing on the stage, putting my voice here, I'm challenging that stereotype, and you can do it too. Thank you.
Thank you, Steven. Next, we have contestant number 3, Kayla Code. Kayla, please pick a question. Generational traumas are passed from grandparent to parent and from parent to child. What is the better way of overcoming them? By taking a step back and letting it go, or by getting closer and confronting the older generation directly? You have 30 seconds to think. Your time begins now. Kayla, you must begin.
Generational trauma is something I can say everyone has experienced, but generational trauma is never black or white. It always has a gray. When we think of generational trauma, we have to realize that it's their first time of living. So when you think of how to address generational trauma, you have to be empathetic. And when you want to take a step forward, because conversation is how growth happens, you have to make sure that you understand when you're talking to elders that however they lived when they grew up, framed their mindset and their actions. But there comes to a point when you can't talk anymore because it might be dangerous to yourself, to your mental, your physical experiences, and that's when you need to take a step back. Generational trauma is never black or white, always gray. Make sure to, when you're addressing generational trauma, to remember that it's everyone's first time living. Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla. Next, we have contestant number 4, Narendra Choi Medina. Natalie, please pick a question. Your question is, the Asian diaspora refers to the mass migration of Asians from birthplace to other countries. Reasons for diaspora vary widely, from escaping political violence to seeking new economic opportunity. In what ways do the effects of the Asian diaspora still linger, affecting you, your family, your community, or loved ones? You have 30 seconds to think. Your time begins now. Natalie, you must begin.
As a first-generation immigrant, I think my experience varies from those whose parents immigrated or grandparents immigrated to America. Immigration affects my everyday life. I experienced it. It's shaped my perspectives, my worldviews, what I struggle with, the way I view the world. It's also obviously affected my parents, and I've viewed that firsthand moving to this country with them. I think they always linger for home. There's a little piece of them that will always be there. There's pieces of me that will always be in my home. And I think back to my great-grandfather who moved from China to Cuba in search of a better life. Then that same pattern was repeated through my parents and then through myself. So immigration and the effects of the Asian diaspora are things that affect my everyday life, and currently it's more important than ever. You don't ever feel complete, but currently you don't also feel safe. It's an added layer of anxiety that is added already to being a minority, to being a woman, and to all my other identities and that intersectionality. So all I can hope for personally is that I create opportunities for my children to not have to move to another country and enjoy the life, economically, financially, and just personally and professionally that they hope to have here. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Next, we have contestant number 5, Fiona Sun. Fiona, please pick a question. Your question is, the American dream refers to the nebulous collection of immigrant hope, all lauding the United States as a place of opportunity and growth. Have you or your family achieved the American dream? You have 30 seconds to think. Your time begins now. Fiona, you must start.
The American dream. Ooh, mine.
The American dream and hope have many similarities. My parents came here with the hope of a better future, with the hope that they themselves and their children will live a better life than they did back in China. And I think that is an enormous and wonderful thing to work for. The United States is a place of opportunity and growth, and I think my family, they have achieved that. Why? My parents came here with nothing but things in their suitcases and clothes on their back. Everything that they owned, they carried with them physically. But in their hearts, they carried something stronger, a desire for growth, a desire for something more. And I think they've achieved that. They found themselves love between my parents. They found themselves their children. And now their dream lives on in me. My American dream has not been achieved because there's so much that I have yet to achieve. There's still so much that I have to live for. There's still so much that I have to make my parents proud, and I have not gotten there yet, but I will, eventually. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. Next, we have contestant number 6, Nico Nguyen. Nico, please pick a question. Your question is, listening to our community can yield many sorrowful narratives of separation, of longing, of competition, and confrontation. Despite all of this, can you really say that being Asian American is a happy experience? If not, how can we make that happen? You have 30 seconds to think. Your time begins now.
Well, being Asian American, we're a part of a minority. We deal with violence, we deal with stereotypes, we deal with things that are unfair for us for something that wasn't our choice. And obviously, I want to use my voice to fight that, and that isn't something great to me for being a minority. However, being Asian American, I'm incredibly proud to say. I'm so proud to come from a rich history of culture that is unique to me, that my stories, my family stories are able to be passed through me, to be told by me, for them to live on for years to come. I'm so proud to come from places with great food, with great storytelling, with great performances. And being Asian American is something that I will always use my voice to support, to fight for, and something that I am so happy to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Nico. Next, contestant number 7, Yulia Lee. Yulia, please pick a question. Your question is, the model minority myth is an American construct that's often misunderstood as being centered on only Asian Americans. What is it actually about, and how do you fight the myth? You have 30 seconds to think. Your time begins now. Yulia, you must begin.
The model minority myth was never about Asian Americans. Instead, it is a tool used by people in positions of power to pit minority groups against each other. And I think this is really terrible. It makes us fight within our own communities. When I was writing a story about Sparks, I wrote about the history of ASU, and through my research I found that it is Black and Hispanic communities that really paved the way for us as Asian Americans at UF. Before ASA was established, before ASU was established, BSU and HSA were established, and we as Asian Americans were able to use the resources and the connections that were given to us by other groups to pave the way forward. And I think that this is something that is lost when we think about the model minority myth. I think that we as Asian Americans need to decenter ourselves. We need to start being allies for other people, because the model minority myth is a tool used to divide us, when in reality, we need to unite. I truly believe that when one of us makes progress, we all make progress. And change happens in waves, it happens in ripples, and we need to be the ones to start being allies. Thank you.
Thank you, Yulia. Lastly, we have contestant number 8, Laura Vogt. Laura, please pick a question. Your question is, about their looks and abilities. Has there ever been a time you wished you looked different, and how has that changed? You have 30 seconds to think. Your time begins now.
Yes, there was a time. I'd say that I've been in that state ever since I was a kid, seeing how my mother looked at herself. She wanted to be the White Lotus, be like the idols. She wanted pale skin, she wanted to be thin. And even though she didn't put that pressure on me, she put it on herself. I followed it. I wanted to be pale, I wanted to be thin. I thought that was what was going to make me elegant, like her idols, like what I thought my perception of beauty was. I threw out a lot of bowls of rice. I rubbed my skin to try to get off perceived dirt. And how has that changed? I think it's most when I went to, just with my education, when I saw different perspectives around me and saw that people have different versions of beauty. This version that she put on me wasn't the only standard of beauty. There's many different types. You can be thin, you can be tanner, you can be beautiful in many different ways. Thank you.